is Rachel. I am a knitter or crocheter. I am someone who absolutely positively loves this crafting community. And today I wanted to share with you my reflections about my amazing yarn retreat slash Rhineback slash mommy getaway trip that I just took. And so if you are interested, please stay tuned and hear about all the amazing experience I have. I will do my best to try to keep some of the crinkling at bay, but do note that there are a few items that are still in its bag and I may not have been able to take it out ahead of time. So I'm trying my best, but bear with me. I just wanted to share my experience with you. So first and foremost, this is my second time going to Rhineback. Last year I went to Rhineback and I only went to the festival on Saturday and Sunday. And this year I wanted to go all in because I know I'm not going back next year. I would like to go to another festival just to experience more yarn, more vendors, and so on and so forth, and also see other cities. Rhineback is absolutely stunning. And I'm so grateful that I was able to go not only with myself, but with my friends as well. But I would love to see other cities and see what they have to excuse me. So anywho, I decided that I want to go to India Untangle and Cape Palooza. And then I heard that Pick Up Every Stitch was doing their Road to Rhineback trunk show with Fiber Co. and other vendors, and I was like, well, I gotta go. So I took off on Thursday and Friday. My friends and I hopped in my husband's car and we drove from Massachusetts to Mount Kisco, New York. And so hopefully I'm inserting footage here where you can see the amazing experience that I had once again being at this store. It is definitely one of my favorite yarn stores to visit. I highly recommend anyone who is someone who loves yarn and loves buying yarn to take the opportunity to stop into their store, because I will promise you, you will leave there feeling empowered, reduced, and just ready to knit or crochet whatever item that you purchase from their store. So with that said, we got there and we were able to actually buy some yarn for all three of us. And so my friend Annie was able to buy some self-striping sock yarn, and she saw some other little trinkets that she wanted to get. Whereas my sister-in-law fell in love with this Malabrigo yarn. Here, I accidentally unwound it, so I'm going to have to put it back together. So it's Rios. Let me actually show you. So Rios, the color, as you can see, is 051 VAA, or the. I went ahead and caked up a skein of it because I'm going to do a swatch of it today just to see what gauge I get, because I'm either going to make the cloud blouse or the cloud sweater, because she saw the pattern, she fell in love with it. Pick Up Every Stitch had samples that were already made, and so it was between the cloud sweater and the winter beach cardigan by Andrea Mari. The cloud sweater is made by Petite Knit, and the winter beach cardi is made by Andrea Mari. The Andrea Mari pattern is an all over cable, whereas the cloud sweater is a just sleek, beautiful, everyday, comfy raglan sweater. So I'm like, I want to knit both of them. So if you buy the yarn, I will knit it for you, because then you have to wear it. So went ahead and caked this up, and so I'm looking forward to putting that on the needles. And this evening I plan on making the swatch, so that way this weekend I can get started on it, because I'll definitely have some of my projects finished, which I'll talk about my own works in progress as well. And so after we left Pick Up Every Stitch, we went to our Airbnb, had checked in, love the layout of the place where we stayed. It had two full bedrooms, but it had a bonus room that had a pull-out couch. So I slept on a pull-out couch and they slept in the bedrooms. We had two full baths. We had a full kitchen, galley kitchen. It had all the amenities that we were looking for. It had a pellet stove that had plenty of pellets. It had a fire pit in the backyard, and my husband was kind enough to chop us some wood, so I went ahead and put that out there. And so we had everything we could possibly need at our Airbnb, and it was only 10 minutes from India Untangle and Cape Palooza, so the location of it was ideal. And then we were also not too far from Rhineback in itself. It was about a 30-minute drive without traffic to Rhineback, so I was very excited about that. So after we get settled into our Airbnb and we call it a night, Friday we had breakfast, and then we left and went to Indie Untangle, and we had the 12 to 2 slot. So Indie Untangle, I definitely feel like it's like a pregame to Rhineback. It had 3 different stalls, or oversized tents, that had multiple vendors that sold different products. It sold fiber, hand spun yarn, self-striping yarn, neon yarn, like you name it, all the different types of yarns were there. And there were buttons and stickers, and what else was there? There were all kinds of little goodies. So everything like a crafter could need was offered there. There were electric spinners that were on sale there. We also saw the traditional spinning wheel that was on sale there too. They had food trucks there where people could get some food. We got oh, it was a long line, but it was worth it. We got the mac and cheese food truck. I got the Southern Charm. My sister-in-law got the lobster mac and cheese, and my friend Annie got this Mediterranean mac and cheese. All three of them were delicious. We ended up sharing together, and we also were able to get some jerk chicken with rice and cabbage, which was so good. The man selling it had a little thing for my sister-in-law, so we definitely had overstuffed plates. So I was like, "Thank you." So, but anywho, we got that. And while I was at that particular event, knew I wanted self striping yarn. So that's what I was able to get. I got this particular self striping. I love it. The second I saw it, I was like, this has to come home with me. They had a sample made up, and I'm like, I want that one. I saw it. I was like, I knew immediately. It has all the colors I've been gravitating to, the pink and the brown and the blue. So I had to get this. I also, as we were waiting to check out, I saw, I was like, what is this? And she was like, oh, it glows in the dark. I'm like, no. And she showed us and it glows in the dark. Well, I'm like, well, it has to come home. And again, it has all the colors I've been gravitating towards: royal blue, hot pink, fuchsia, neon yellow, neon green. So really am glad. I'm looking forward to making socks with both of these, and I can totally see my sons actually wanting this as well. And I can envision making a shorty sock set of socks for them. So this will probably end up being into three, and it's over 400 yards, and so I can definitely make two pairs of kid socks, and hopefully add this in as like whatever leftover. Maybe I can put this in a heel or the toe for my socks, whatever's left over. But I think this is going to be for them, and this is definitely for me. So I was very excited about that particular purchase. And while I was there, Beautiful Syster was on sale, and Michael from Peace, who I had the opportunity to meet finally in person at Pick Up Every Stitch. He is just as amazing in person as he is online. So, oh my gosh, it warmed my heart so much to meet him. So I definitely fangirled a little bit. And there were a couple other people I fangirl over, and I'll get there in later. But since he recommends it, I was like, you know what? Let me give it a try. And the bags weren't actually too expensive. They were between some of the cheaper ones were like 20, and it went up to like 40. And I think my bag was around 25. And when I saw the price of it, I was like, you know what? That's good, because I have absolutely no problem buying a bag that I can see myself actually using. And so it has a little pocket inside here. Has a little pocket there, and it has a nice little depth to it where you can sit it down. You can fold it over and use it as a bucket bag. And I love the colors as well. It looks like this is like ice dyed, and so I'm definitely going to use this. I'm really am excited about this particular purchase. So that was a score. Uh, Also, while I was there at Indie Untangle, I was able to get this beautiful skein and yarn. So my husband loves wearing the knitted hats I make for him, and so he loves green and blue. And I felt that this was a nice in between of green and blue, because it definitely has some blue undertones, but it presents as being green, and I'm sure on the camera it looks more teal. And so I'm like, this would be perfect, and I can make him a nice stockinette hat. And the hat that Michael was wearing at Pick Up Every Stitch, I'm like, that's perfect for my husband, because both Michael and my husband both are bald. And I noticed that he doesn't wear his hats over his ears. Like, he always stops the brim over right here. And I'm like, I need a hat that's, that's friendly to that. And so when I saw his and the way he wears it, I'm like, Toni would wear that in a heartbeat. And so I'm like, this is perfect. So this yarn would be perfect for the for the pattern, because the pattern is called, I'm going to insert the name, and I definitely have it in the description. I am so sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's called like Siege. It's CEEJ. And the creator's name, her first name is Tanis, and I cannot remember her last name. But nevertheless, she has the way that she wrote the pattern. You can use worsted, DK, or even fingering weight, and she shows you how you can change the gauge in order to do that. So I'm like, you know what? It's a no-brainer. It's a multi-function pattern. So it's definitely something I could use for this. So I'm really excited, because I think that he will really like that. So this was also a purchase at Indie Untangle. And so that was all I got at Indie Untangle. However, I wanted to quickly show you what I got from Pick Up Every Stitch. This is the yarn. They were doing a trunk show for Fiberco, Camilla Fiberco. and some of the proceeds for some of the skeins of yarn was being donated to breast cancer. And that particular charity, those charities always are near and dear to my heart, given the fact that my family has dealt with different versions and battling of breast cancer. So I was like, yes. But I didn't need much convincing. I love Fiber Co. I have used their yarn before. There was a yarn exchange that I did at my job, and so I was able to try it out there. And so I'm like, you know what? I wanted to buy at least 2 sweater quantities of yarn while I was here. And when I say here in New York, so this was my first sweater quantity. This is called the CFC Sylvan DK, 70% alpaca, 20% silk, and 10% cashmere. There's 246 yards, which equals about 224 meters. It's a non-superwash, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels like a superwash. It's suggested that you hand dry, and this is called Blackberry. And this particular scheme was $40, but because it was a trunk show and I had a gift card and they just always have just unbelievable sales, I got a discount on it. So didn't spend an arm and a leg this time at Pick a Berry Stitch. I have no problem doing that. I love giving in my business. So I was able to buy a sweater quantity of this yarn. So definitely very happy with that particular purchase. And while I was there, I ran into Kim for Knit Together with Kim and Jonna. Jonna didn't make it yet. I was hoping to see her before we left, but we had to go check into the Airbnb and we wanted to grab lunch before. So Jonna, if you're out there, I love you. And I'll see her again virtually on our knit group. But they have these cute little gift bags that they're giving to their just their fans, anyone who's interested. And I'm glad. And her granddaughter helped her put this together and have a beautiful enamored pen. So I'm going to definitely add that to my bag. Maybe I'll add it to my beautiful sister bag. So that was a nice little treat, and it has a little mint in there too. So you never know, because sometimes you get bad breath, you know. But anywho, other than so that's what I got at Pick Up Every Stitch. But I went to Cake Palooza. So Pick Up Every Stitch, the Indian Tingle. I showed you what I got from Indian Tingle and Pick Up Every Stitch. Then we went to Cake Palooza. Now I've been hearing about Cake Palooza for a hot minute. Everybody, every time they go to Rhineback, they talk about this event. So I'm like, you know what? I want to give it a whirl and see what it's about and see if it's something that will meet my fancy. And child, it met my fancy. I am over the moon excited that I had an opportunity to go to this particular event. So at Cake Palooza, they have a variety of different vendors, similar vendors that you'll see if you were to go to like Rhineback or any other yarn festival. But I think what's different about Cake Palooza is that, I don't know, the vibe was just completely different. I can't quite explain it. So sorry, my headlamp turned on. I was trying to turn it off. But anywho, so while we were at Cake Palooza, they have very specific time slots for everyone to come in, which allows you not to feel so, clustered while you're in there. It gives you a chance to actually stand and look around the yarn. So after we did our parking and we were coming through, we were waiting in line with everyone else, and they were checking everyone's ticket to make sure that people who were waiting in line actually had tickets, because they were completely sold out. And they were like, is this your first time coming? I was like, yes. They were like, oh, we have Cake Palooza version. So myself and my sister-in-law, and my friend Annie all got like little trinkets. So I got these earrings. I don't know how well you can see here. I can take it out to show them. They're so pretty, and it went so well with my outfit. I'll again try to insert a picture of myself wearing the outfit I wore for Cake Palooza, but it like matched perfectly. My sister-in-law got a whole bunch of stitch markers. There's a word. And then my friend Annie got a pair of earrings too. Great costume jewelry. So I was like, oh, it was really cute. I like that. That was a nice little touch to it. Then you go in, and there's vendors all over the place, and you just go to the people who you want. And for me, I wanted Black Pearl Magic. I knew the second, I'm like, that's the only vendor I want to see. I knew that Black Pearl Magic was there and Toni Lipsey was there, and if I didn't experience anything else, I was cool. I just needed to experience those two. So got to Black Pearl Magic, went to the booth, and fortunately she still had the bag I had initially went there for on sale, and it was the one with the shoes. I ended up not getting that because I saw the other bag that I always want. This is something I've been eyeing, but it's always sold out. And so it was there, and I was like, do I want the other one? This one. So I'm like, I'm just gonna get this one because I almost ended up with 2 bags. But I'm glad I didn't. It's such a cute little bag. So it reminds me of a makeup bag a little bit, but it has a very strong bottom, very sturdy, beautiful pink. See? Look at it. So I got that, and I got another Black Pearl Magic sweatshirt. I will try to again insert a picture of myself wearing it, and if not any pictures that I'm unsuccessful inserting it because I did just get home, so my family might be coming up here. I definitely will have those pictures are available to view on my Instagram reel. I posted that, and you'll be able to see it there. So all the little fun treats there, including this amazing group shot that I took with the people at Pick Up Every Stitch. But I digress. So got my yarn, not my yarn, my accessories from Black Pearl Magic, and I was like, I was good. I didn't need anything else. But then we were coming around the corner. We saw other vendors, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. I touched the yarn for this cashmere that I was looking at, but it was I didn't like how it felt. It felt a little too rustic for me. So went around the corner, decided not to purchase that. And who do I see? Miss Toni Lipsey's mom, and I was like, well, I need to go. So I was like, hi. And she's like, oh, I remember you. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you remember me. It's like, really? You remember me? Rachel? Seriously? And so she gave me a hug and we took a picture together. And Toni remembered me. She took a picture with me too. And so it was just absolutely amazing just to greet them again. And I got Toni's autograph. I know I mentioned it at the beginning of this video, hopefully. Um, but this is Toni Lipsey's book, the Tunisian crochet book. And I learned how to Tunisian crochet from watching her tutorials, and I had to get her autograph. So she signed this for me. Oh, Shayla also signed one of my bags that I purchased from her from back in the day too. So I got 2 autographs while I was there because I was definitely fangirly. But I was really grateful that she was willing to sign a copy of it, and it is near and dear to me. So grateful. She showed me around because she did a collaboration again with Hobbii. And I told her, I was like, well, as soon as it went on sale, like I was one of your midnight patrons. I went online immediately and ordered my yarn. And so she was like, well, come see, look at what it looks like in person. And it is just what I thought it was going to be. It's very beautiful yarn, and I just could not wait. And so I'm sorry about the crinkling, but this is the yarn from Toni Lipsey and Hobbii. This is called, this is also Happy Plays an Apricity, is how she pronounces it. And oh my God, this is gorgeous. Dang, I didn't really look at it. This is absolutely nice. And it's so squishy. Now, this is considered to be a super bulky. So my goal is to make Petite Knits line sweater. It's a bulky weight yarn. And although it's listed as super bulky, I know I can get a gauge for this to do it at airing weight because I know how I knit. So really am excited about it. I'm going to do a swatch just to see, and I may have to go up a needle size or maybe even go down a size when casting on. But this will be my stripes. And so I got 3 skeins of this for my stripes because it's like a 3 stripe pattern, and it's this beautiful the sample that she's wearing is like more of like this cream color white. And so what is that called, Cascade 220. I was thinking about holding it with that, so I don't know what would be. I know this is going to be my stripe. That is the pattern. When I saw the yarn, I instantly thought that, and I'm like, I want to make that with it. So we'll see. That's my plan with it. Oh, let me tell you about the fiber quantity. So it's 65% alpaca. Ooh, I'm sorry to get off track for a second, but I just remembered I have a cotton alpaca yarn that's from Rowan that's almost a similar layout. It's a blown fiber. This is perfect. Or I can use my drops sky yarn too because it's another blown alpaca. But anywho, let me get back to the yarn. It's 65% alpaca, 28% polymade, and 7% wool. And for every 50 grams, you get 120 meters or 131 yards. So, and I got it on sale for 20% off, and the 20% off is actually going on for another until November. So I definitely can see myself buying more. And in fact, I'm going to probably do a gauge swatch with that maybe, and maybe I'll just buy more. Who knows? I don't need to buy any more yarn. That much is well said, as you will see in a few moments. So, anywho, got a chance to say hello to her, took some pictures with her. Again, I was just so excited. I was so proud of myself not having a hot flash because I got so worked up. So, after I had the amazing time with them, we took some photos, we walked around some more. And Annie, my friend who came with me, had suggested like to visit the booth for Tough. And I was like, okay, I never heard of Tough. Well, I got with it. So, this is Tough. Oops. There we go. Oh my goodness. Rachel, just turn it the right way. There we go. Tough. Oh, it smells so good. So they make their own balm, lip balm, hand balm, body soap, wool wash, the whole 9 yards. And so I went ahead and purchased it, and it is so luxurious, and I can't wait to use it. So this is I got this. I thought this would be perfect for the winter when I get like super dry, crackly skin. So I got this. And what else did I get from? Oh, so while we were at Indie Untangle, they I saw the Map Pipes, the Map Pipe girls or ladies. They were there because they were supporting the yarn truck. And so there is this truck store that is like mobile, and they sell Map Pipe yarn. They sell other vendors, and I'm like, you know what? Let's go in the truck and see. So we went in the truck, and we saw all the beautiful yarn that they sell from Map Pipe and other vendors too. But what I gravitated towards was this beautiful two skeins of yarn. And so this is called Echoes by Gusto Wool. It is 80% merino, 20% nylon, 440 yards total, and it's 100 grams, and it's sock weight. And its recommended needles are US 1 to US 3, or 2.25 to 3.25. And one of the reasons why I decided to purchase this is that the way that this is dyed, it's identical. So you can actually make identical self-striping socks using this. And so I've been wanting to try a pair of that to do that. And I'm like, you know what, this is perfect, because it's hard to do that measurement on your own. I tried it with the pair of self-striping socks I'm doing right now, and it worked out a little bit, but I thought this would be perfect. So I love purple, I love gray, and how am I going to go wrong with that? So this would be another pair of socks that I should be making for myself. In addition to that, at Indie Untangle, excuse me, Cape Palooza, I also had a chance to visit Asylum Fibers. Now I have their yarn, and I'm making my Solori sweater. I'm finishing the Solori sweater with it. I haven't gotten to the cake yet, but it will be finished with that yarn. But while I was there, I was seeing if they had another purple, because I'm like, couldn't it hurt to have another skein of purple to add to it? But I saw this, and I'm like, oh, I have to take this because it's just a beautiful color yarn, and I don't know what I'm going to use it for. It might end up in the sea glass. It might end in a shawl. Who knows? But I saw it. I thought it was a really beautiful color as well, and I just decided to get it. So I got it. Have no plans for it as of right now. After I left Asylum Fibers, there was one other thing I got from there. I got this purple yarn as well. It's called Sea Witch. Again, I don't have a specific plan with it. I could do a helical knit with both of them because these two would do phenomenal together. Who knows? I might actually do. Oh, this is what will happen. This is what will happen, because this can be the heel and the toe and the cuff, and I can helical knit the rest of this because there's a little bit of this color splashed in here. Love me. All right. Sorry, I just got so many ideas, and hopefully I won't forget. You know how you get these ideas, and then when it comes to actually using the yarn, you're like, no, I'm not too sure. Sorry, my throat's getting dry. So, anywho, after we left Asylum Fibers, we decided to do one more lap, just in case we missed anyone. And while I was doing my lap, I ran into Nora for Nora Knits. And so it was really nice to meet her in person and say hello and take a picture with her. I enjoy her podcast. I just wanted to give her her flowers as well. And after I left her, I went to this really cute little local yarn store who rented a booth at Cape Palooza. And I was like, you know what? Let me just check them out. And they were selling Labian Aimé. And so I had to get it. I don't have any yarn in this color. I bought 2 skeins of this. I have enough where I can make a vest. I have 2 skeins of it, so I can make a vest with it. I can also use it in a color work or a striping pattern. I don't know exactly what I would like to use it for because with the yardage, let me just share with you. It's 328 yards, 300 meters for every 100 grams. So it's definitely enough to make a ranunculus. It's also enough to make a nice slip over as well. So we'll see what will end up being, but I'm definitely keeping this, and I will be making something with it. What exactly, I don't know, but stay tuned. It will be shared sooner than later. There was one other purchase that I made at Pick Up Every Stitch that I forgot to mention, and it was this beautiful Surrey alpaca. It's 90% baby Surrey and 10% Mulberry silk. And when I saw this, I immediately thought a hat. So I'm going to bring it closer. I know it's the cameras. I know it's getting late, so it's not catching everything. But when I saw this, I can just see myself wearing a hat with it and having a nice big white pom pom. And I have a bunch of pom poms, and I can change them out with the this like tan. So this was a good purchase too. So I'm going to figure out what to do with that sooner than later. And one other random purchase I made that was actually at Indian Tangle that I'm really excited about is a lemon wood um, yarn minder. Yeah, lemon wood yarn minder. And this is the color I got. And my friend Annie uses hers all the time, and it's definitely convenient and perfect for mobile knitting. So, and I've been eyeing hers, and I'm getting tired of my balls of yarns just going everywhere, even though the bags I use are pretty compatible with mobile knitting, but I just wanted to add a little something for something. And I've been eyeing it, and it was, they actually had a little discount for the one I got. So it ended up only costing me 41 total, and that includes two different wrist handles as well as the hook. So I'm like, that wasn't a bad purchase. So Thursday and Friday, I stayed under budget until I got to Cape Palooza. Cape Palooza is where I went over budget. What put me over budget was the lobbying. If I didn't buy this, I would be fine. I wouldn't had been over budget, but I had told myself a certain amount, and I went over $76 with this one. So it is what it is. You only live once, right? That's what I told myself. So when we got to Rhineback, I wasn't feeling so yarn thirsty, if that makes sense, because I had already acquired a significant amount of yarn, and I'm like, I really just didn't feel any like motivation to do go yarn shopping. I knew I was hoping to find a beautiful gray yarn, but so far I hadn't seen anything that made me say like, yes, this is the gray I've been looking for. I'm going to commit to it. I was looking for something either in DK or worsted weight in the color gray that wasn't woolly but wasn't super wash but nice in between. And I also was hoping to come across some rambouillet yarn because I've been hearing a lot about it, that it doesn't peel as much. It's really great for regulating body heat. And again, at on Thursday and Friday, I didn't come across any of those. So I'm like, we'll see if I see it at at Rhineback at the actual Sheep and Wool Festival. When we get there, my sister-in-law goes in to get cash because we knew we wanted those Brussels sprouts. Her ATM card got stuck. And it took forever and a year, but I eventually was able to jiggle it out and get her card out. So after that unexpected drama, I realized I had to use the restroom, and the line was ridiculous because again, there were so many people here. Hopefully I'm inserting footage of what it is. You can go on anyone Instagram reel or YouTube and you will see tons of tons of people. It was jam packed. I was really surprised by that. Last year was pretty thick with people, and so this was like it felt like it was 10 times that. It was to a point where you could not move, and then we were in traffic. Like you got into a walking line and people would branch out and go over there, but you could not stop right there and look. If you were going to look at a vendor, you had to break off. For that particular event, I wish that we were in allotted time slots. Maybe it would have felt less, but it was a little too crowded and it was a little overwhelming um, for myself. I can't speak for others, but I did feel a little overwhelmed. I went to the restroom, and I then we were sorry, my sister-in-law and friend waited in line for the Brussels sprouts, so I went to go get drinks, and we got our Brussels sprouts and drinks, and we ate just to kind of like mellow ourselves out because it was just a lot of people. And then we went into the buildings, and there wasn't any yarns that were really calling out to me. I think the excitement for the event wasn't as high for Rhineback for me because of the amazing experience I had at Pick Up Berry Stitch, Indian Tangle, and Cape Palooza. Like those three stops were just incredible. I Pick Up Every Stitch just to meet all the podcasters and actually engage in a conversation with them and not talk for like 30 seconds and pretend like we had this meaningful interaction. Like it was actually a real conversation. And then when I went to Indie Untangle, it wasn't packed. You know, it was plenty of time just to stand in the stall and interact with the product that was being sold, to talk to the person who owned the product, and not feel like you were blocking someone, not feel like you were preventing the flow of traffic to come and go. So that was really amazing. And they had some of the really great yarn vendors that were there too. And same thing with Cake Palooza. Now that one felt a little bit more condensed, but not overcrowded, where there was still some excuse me, but it wasn't like, okay, I have to walk in this line, and then when I see the vendor I want, then I can, signal that I'm going to the right. It was, oh, I can stop here. People can walk around. There was enough space to walk around them. You could not do this at Rhineback. So when I got there, so I think that took away from some of the excitement of being there. But what allowed the excitement to come back was the Andrew Amari's frame sweater. I don't think she realized, I hope she realizes it. Maybe she does. But it was such a community that she fostered with this particular pattern, to see so many men and women and other identifications that people have make these beautiful, completely different versions of the sweater. Even though we all use the same pattern, there were so many variations of it, it wasn't even funny. In addition to the variations that were there and the different sizes of it, it was beautiful. It was like a rainbow of people. And so I hope she pats herself on the back and feels elated that she brought so many people together to knit this particular garment. The excitement and joy that she did, it made, even though it was so many of us, it still made for this really intimate moment where people were watching us all together on the hill to celebrate that. So that was really cool. So if the Rhineback sweater is as dope as it was this year, for next year maybe I will take like a day trip to Rhineback. But anyway, I digress. We did go into each one of the buildings. I got a chance to go to Neighborhood Fiber. um, I got 2 skeins of yarn from Neighborhood Fiber. I'm planning on making the mug cloth, and so I already have 2 skeins of the Bolton Hill, but I wanted one more just to be on the safe side, because um, one skein, half of the skein I used for another pattern. So I was like, you know what, let me buy it. But she's no longer selling that particular weight yarn. And I should have bought it online. I saw it there, but I was like, no, I'll just get it when I get to Rhineback. But you live in once. But I have this one. I'm really am glad, because I think I can still make it work. Because although it's 100% merino, I'll make it work. This particular skein of yarns, as I said, is 100% organic merino, 475 yards. It's called Rustic Fingering. It's called, and the color is Bolton Hill. And the second skein of yarn I got, which is another rustic fingering, and this one is called Joyce Scott. And so I got this, and I think I might gift this to my friend Annie, because this is definitely more her speed than mine. But I'll give this to her later. But this one is for my yarn, not my yarn, for the mud cloth. It's a pattern that I've had my eye on for a while. It's an all over color work. I think it would be really fun to do it in these colors. And I have white fingering weight yarn that would be perfect for it. So I'm going to do those two there. And now that I have the second skein, I know I have plenty of yarn to do it. The primary skein I'm going to use, I have 150 grams of it in the other one. So if I end up using all of that, then this will just be an extra skein of yarn for to be used later or gifted. But very happy with that particular purchase. She was really busy, so I didn't want to bother her. But while I was there, I got this particular sticker. She was selling these. It says Crochet Czar for President. um, but after we left that particular booth, we walked around, and I've seen fiber optic before. Oh, that was just my receipt. I've seen fiber optic before, but I never went into their stall. But this year, my friend went into it. I was like, oh, I'll check it out. And I immediately saw 2 versions of this. It was like different colorways. And all I could think was the Lintho cardigan. It's a cardigan by Natasha Hornsby. It's she also goes by Moonstruck, I believe. She made the artist shawl, and she just came out with another cardigan that's in a similar, pattern design as that. But the Lintho, I've been itching to do this. It's brioche, stockinette, and color work all in one pattern. Like, you can't go wrong with that. And the brioche is the ribbing. So instead of doing traditional ribbing, you're doing brioche. I absolutely want to do that. And my goal is to cast that on for January. That's my winter knit. And I had initially purchased this yarn from Brooklyn General. This was this beautiful red spicy yarn from, it had different variations in it as well, from Brooklyn General, but I don't have enough of it anymore because I ended up using it in another pattern that escapes my mind for a moment. Oh, I remember now. I ended up using it in my stitches sweater that I did, and it looks stunning in it. So I have no regrets about using the yarn ahead of time, but the reason why I haven't cast on for it because I've been waiting for another bold red undertone, but not too reddish. And this one was it. So I know the colors aren't going to pop out as well as I would like on here. Maybe if I put my light, no, that just makes it worse. Why do you do it? Why do you do it, Rachel? It's my fault for filming at 4:30 in the evening, but I saw it and take me at my word. It's called Double Dutch. So, and I used to love Double Dutch, even though I could only I was I was the one doing the ropes. I could not get in there. I could not jump, but I could definitely twirl. Well, I was a good twirler. Everybody asked me to twirl the. Don't you miss those days, or is it just me? But anyway, this is called Double Dutch, and this is their heavily worsted. Heaven worsted. It's 70% superwash merino, 20% cashmere, 10% silk, and it comes with about 200 yards, which is about 180 meters, and it's 4 ounces, about 114 grams. So my goal is I need only at the max of 200 yards. So I have plenty of the yarn and I already know what the main color is going to be. I already know what I need one more contrasting yarn and I already have that as well. So it's good to go. It's just ready. So I just need to get some things off the needles. I got way too many works in progress that I need to kind of like wrap them up. And my goal is for the rest of this October, I'm not going to cast on anything. I'm going to do the swatch so that way I know which pattern to buy, but otherwise I'm gonna knock out the Solari and the rainy day tea. Like, fortunately, I'm getting off topic. I'm gonna come back to that later. But anywho, while at Rhineback, um, I was able to get that. And then we went to CC Wool because Annie loves CC Wool. And I was like, you know what, they have great yarn last year. And they didn't have enough of the yarn I wanted to get. So while I was there, I saw this beautiful fingering weight yarn and I was like, come home with me. You should. And I'm not a Tweety person at all. Every time I get Tweety yarn, I end up giving it away, but I'm determined to make a project with tweed in it. So I have this. I may make a hat with this. I may go into a colorwork. It may even go into my Natasha Hornsby sweater or cardigan. The reason why, because the pattern calls for, I want to blend it with white. And I think these two would or work together. I know this is a superwash, but it definitely has a rustic quality to it. And I don't mind mixing fibers together. I found that with some other patterns I've done in the past, mixing the fibers actually doesn't take away from the pattern, actually enhances it. So I definitely recommend it. Um, but so I got that skein of yarn. And then while I was there, I was like, okay, this might be it. But then I saw this and I'm like, another tweed. And my sister was like, I want it. I was like, you can't have this. I'm taking this. This is a worsted tweed. It's 300 ply. It's 3 ply. I don't know. I said 300. It's 3 ply Rumbelet. I've been wanting Rumbelet. The other one's also Rumbelet. It's 80% Rumbelet yarn and with 6%. Sorry, I'm saying so much. Apologies. 89% Rumbelet with 6% acrylic and 5% rayon. So this is yarn. I did a horrible job promoting this, but definitely love it. It's beautiful. Love it. Can't wait to make something with it. And it's very plump, very plump. So it reminds me of merino, but I know it's not 100% merino. This one, this one, this is I finally found it. My gray yarn. And I know you're probably like, this looks like any other gray yarn. There's certain grays that you see where you're just like, you, me, together forever. And I don't know if it's because it's the twist on the yarn. I don't know how well you can see that. You can't see it. There's a nice twist to it. This is 100% Rambouillet yarn. So wool, I should say. It's about, the color is called Storm. There's 298 yards. This is a DK weight. And I don't know exactly which pattern I might do with this. I might do the brunch sweater. That's an option. I think cables would be ideal with this, and I have plenty to do cables. I'll leave it at that. So we'll see what this ends up being, but I was really, really excited about this particular purchase, and I cannot wait to cast on for that. So that's going on the shelf. And I'm happy to report that I got a lovely little gift from Annie. She bought me this little Rhineback. So it says New York Sheep and Wool 2024. Can you see that? So yeah, that was a nice little treat. So that I think is it. No, it's not. Okay. So here's some tea. Let me tell y'all. So we do Rhineback. We had a grand old time. I mean, cannot beat it. Had a good time. So now we're like, you know what? We're done. It's been a great day. Let's go ahead and head to dinner. We had a 5 o'clock reservation at this restaurant in the city of Rhineback. And it was on bare naked arms or bare wood arms. It was the oldest tavern in America. And we're like, oh, I like history. I teach history. This would be dope. So we walk around the city of Rhineback and we're like, oh my God, it's so cute. I talked to my family. My friends talked to their family. We're all like, oh my gosh, what a great day. And we go take our pictures in front of the tavern. We're like, oh my gosh, how cute are we? We're all like, geeked out from our amazing weekend that we've had so far. And a little sad that it's our last night because we got to go home the next day. So it's 5 o'clock. It's actually 4:57. And we go into the restaurant to check in for our reservation. No one was standing to greet us at the thing. So we're like, okay, we wait. It's busy. We get it. But it wasn't like that busy. So we were waiting. And then we were waiting. And so the host finally comes. She doesn't greet us. She doesn't say anything to us. She does her little thing on her computer. And then she takes a call. Still hasn't said a word, hasn't even acknowledged my beautiful face. So I'm like, okay, I'll wait. And she has an extended conversation with this person. She doesn't say, thank you so much for calling. Do you mind holding? So I have someone waiting in line. I need to interact with them first, and then I will follow up with you. She doesn't do that. Instead, she completes that call in its entirety and then greets me. And I tell her my name and my reservation. And she's like, okay. And then she just walks away. So we're like, okay. Did she just walk away? She walked away. So she walks away and she's gone for a couple of minutes. And we are like, if she's not back in the next 60 seconds, let's just go down the street and get a slice of pizza. Because I'd rather have pizza than be treated like this. Or even go back to Rhineback and eat there. So we're literally waiting. And so she finally comes back. And she's like, okay, we have a table. No, she doesn't even say, okay, we have a table for you. I'm lying. So she comes back. This gentleman comes around the corner around the same time that she gets stationed at her host station. And he comes around. He leans in, doesn't even say, oh, are you waiting in line? Or have you been helped? No, none of the niceties that people are to do, the etiquette that you need to show. Instead, he proceeds to talk about his situation, about where he wants to sit, where with and how many people he has in his party. And I'm just standing there and I'm looking at Annie. I'm like, is this really happening? So she wraps him up, make sure he's all set for his dining situation. And then she's like, okay, you can come with me. And we're all three of us were like, I don't really want to go. And so I'm a little in my feelings at this point because I don't need a big fanfare whenever I come to a restaurant. I would love to be acknowledged. Sorry, I feel like I realized the lighting is coming. Is that better? A little bit. So I would like to be acknowledged when I come to one of these events. You don't need to like kiss my butt or do any of that, but at least acknowledge me because I'm about to give you my money, my hard-earned money at that. And so she brings us to a table. She doesn't bring us to a table. She brings us inside the tavern, and I'm like, we booked the restaurant. Like, why are we sitting basically at the bar instead of sitting at a you know dining cloth table? So I'm like, you know what? Let's let it go. So Annie and my sister-in-law go to the restroom. We come back. They come back. I go to the restroom. And by that point, someone bought us water. And that's it. We were sitting there for a good 10 minutes. No one came back to say, like, dog kiss my foot to you. Everyone just kept walking by our table. And I'm like, I'm not going to spend $48 on a piece of steak for this level of service. If I'm going to spend $48 on a piece of steak, you're going to give me the common courtesy of saying hello. So I was like, you know what, guys, I'm like, the only thing I would want from here is French onion soup. And even that, I don't even want. And so they were both like, we're in the same boat. I was like, do you want to go? They're like, let's go. So we left. I left $4 for the person who bought us water, and we left. I get it that it's a busy weekend. Everybody and their mama is at this particular yarn festival, and you're dealing with all of that. But if you want to make money, because we're all clearly there to spend our money. Like we drove from all over the country and flown from all part of the globe to spend our money. The least you can do is be happy we're spending our money, because we had a similar experience at the wine store we went to. We were walking around the city and we saw this beautiful vintage wine store. So we're like, oh, let's check it out. So we're walking around and it's like, oh my God, this is so pretty. And the woman was acting like we were interrupting her quiet time. And I'm like, I'm sorry, did we do something inappropriate? We are just coming to be a patron of your store. So that was the first time, and the restaurant was the second time. I was like, I don't give my business to places like that. And then we went to this amazing diner called Pete's Diner. It's in the heart of Rhineback. Highly recommend. Not only did we have exceptional customer service where we were greeted, um, the waitress was wonderful. The owner of the store even came by and said hello. Again, I don't need all the fanfare. I really don't. Half the time, I want to be acknowledged, be given the opportunity to place my order and to get my food at a reasonable amount of time. I don't need all the every 5 minutes check in. So anywho, we got our food. We ate it. The food was good. We all three of us got no. I got a panini, Annie got a panini, and my sister in law got a buffalo chicken wrap. And all three of us were like, "Dang, this is good." So glad we made a decision to give them our business as well, and probably spent the same amount of money that I would have spent on just my meal alone at the other restaurant. But I just that was the only, like, oh, like, come on folks, you got to do better. But anywho, after we left Pete's, we got a chance to again continue our little ventures around the city, and we went into this cute little shop called Periwinkle. And there they sold a little shower bombs and handmade soap, because we didn't see the vendor that we went to last year. So this one I got was African Violet. I'm going to give that to my department chair, our new assistant principal. And then it got this one as well. So was really happy with that particular purchase, and I got some lip balm while I was there too. Put that over there. So happy about going to that. And then we went to a like little treat store. It was like they sell little candies and custom made bakery type items too, and it was really good. I bought chocolate cover Oreos that had different stuffing in the middle. So one had peanut butter, there was one that had cookie dough and peanut butter, and then another that just had just a regular filling in there. So that was a nice, and that one was along the same route as Pete's. So if you're in Rhineback, you go to Pete's for the diner, and then go to Periwinkle to get you some little spa treats, and then head over to the candy shop whose name I can't remember, but it was very good, very good. And then after we got our little treats, we sat in traffic for an hour because everyone and their mother was leaving Rhinebeck, so that was a good hour of traffic. And I don't mean just like stop and go. I mean parked. Like the car was parked. Ooh, I said pot. I lived here for too long. I lived here for too long. Anywho, the car was parked, but there was no cell phone service, so it wasn't like we could entertain ourselves with that. And we were all like exhausted, so it was dead silent in the car other than for the music, which was perfectly fine with all three of us because we have kids, and so sometimes it's nice to sit in silence. And yeah, we did that. Went back to the house and chilled out for the rest of the night. Lit a fire. Had some of the no. We ended up just having no. We had one beverage, but ended up having a large glass of tea as well, and just had a really relaxing evening listening to audiobooks and reading and knitting. It was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. So that's it about my ride back experience. I'm home now with all the stuff that I now need to put away, and can honestly say I'm so glad I went. It was worth every penny spent. I was definitely feeling I have been I've been battling some mental health issues this summer, just feeling not coping with some of the situations as well as I usually do. And um, I needed to recharge. And going to Martha's Vineyard with my family definitely helped, that sparked that recharge. But this like push me over where I feel rejuvenated and I feel so much more relaxed and more like myself. And so all in all, I'm really, really am glad I went. We were there for 3 nights and 4 days, and it was just perfect. It was really perfect. I could not ask for better house guests. Our housemates, they had the similar style of travel I do, so we were able to enjoy ourselves with each other. So I'm really am so glad. So if you have it within your budget or time, take a weekend for yourself, whether it's going to a fiber festival or going on a spa vacation, whatever it is, or just heck, just renting a hotel room with all your crafts and just knitting away while watching binge watching television show programs that you wanted to watch. You have to do things for yourself to recharge. And I am really excited to go back to work on Monday and feel renewed. I really do. I'm mad about this lighting. I like this side of my face. Yeah, this side of my face is like completely dark. But anywho, I try to adjust it as best I can. It is what it is. To do that. Maybe no, that doesn't help at all. You just see the Brad Pitt photo. But anywho, oh, my works in progress. I was mentioning that I bought my Oslo hat to work on. So while I was walking around, let's see if I can reach it without making a fool of myself. Oh, got it. Yes, yes. My socks. I don't know where they went, but I bought my socks, the ones I've been working on forever and a year that I have made zero progress. Maybe this will light my face. Here, you can see me now. No, um, but I did the Oslo. I bought the Oslo hat where I was able to get Shayla to sign it. Let me see which side she signed it. Oh, there it is. I know it's hard to see, but she signed it for me, and I made some good progress. So this was my walk around project. So as I was walking and talking and saying hello and touching all the yarns or trying not to touch all the yarns, this was there. And I wish I kept this in my hand a little bit more because I think I would have bought less yarn. But I made some really strong progress and I was able to show Kevin and Ray the fabric as well because this is their yarn and I wanted to show them how beautiful it looks in an Oslo hat. So held with Syria alpaca. So it's coming along. I should be. It's at the point where the brim is ready to fold over. So I need to reread the pattern because it's been a while since I made the pattern and I have it memorized, but I don't. So I'd rather look at it and do it right because I really, really am enjoying the fabric that it's making. So that's where I'm at with this particular project. So this is still ongoing. I had hoped to finish it before the end of the weekend, and if I just worked on it primarily, I would. Another project that I made significant progress on by because we were done with all of our events by like 5 on Thursday and Friday, so we had so much knitting time. Well, I had so much knitting time. So when we got back to the house, I worked on my emery vest, and I finally finished the front and was able to join in the body. So yeah, it came out. It's coming out so well, but I didn't bring enough yarn with me, so I had to stop, and so I got a chance to do. Looks like I did 2 rows on the body, and then had to stop. So I'm going to pick up where I left off with this particular project this week, and my mission, if I should choose to take it, is to finish the socks, the hat, the vest, and last but not least, my Wednesday sweater, along with my Solari and my rainy day. Yeah, I have way too many projects on the needles, and I'm at a point where it's all just joining the body. So here is my Wednesday. I'm playing yarn chicken with this one. I didn't bring all my yarn with me, which I should have. So I was able to, here, I'll show you the front. I was able to join in the body here. So a lot of really productive knitting weekend because I made excellent progress with all of them. With the socks, I'm now at the point where I'm decreasing for the toes. So I will finish that one first. So that's going to be my priority now. I'm going to finish that project first. I only have to, I'm decreasing at the toes and I have about, I don't know, 6 or 7 more decreases to do. So then the toes, that project will be done. Then I'm going to, my next priority knit will be the Oslo hat. We'll knock that out. And then this one, I really need to put some quality time into because the body is really long. Plus I also got to do the sleeves and the collar. So this particular garment will probably be finished the first week of November. I would love to say I will have it done by October, but the first week of November is when this was going to be finished. But I know I can have the socks and my Oslo hat finished by this upcoming Friday. The vest, I think I can have that also finished by this Friday as well. And the reason why is because I only have two more diamonds, and this pattern's become really intuitive with me. So we'll see. Knitting in and around wasn't as bad as I thought. So I think I can finish this weekend or by the end of next week. My goal is to finish this by the end of next week. And what else? The Solari sweater. That should be finished by the end of the month. I don't think I can finish it by the end of next week. I can definitely have it finished by the end of the month. The rainy day tee, that one will probably also be the first week of November. But my expectation for myself, as exciting as I am about all these yarns that I have around the room, including the swatch I'm going to be making with my sister-in-law, I really think it would be in my best interest to finish these first, and that way I can have something new on my needles come November. That's my goal for myself. So I'm going to finish the socks tonight. That's my goal tonight. I'm going to finish the socks tonight, then knock out this Oslo hat by Wednesday at the latest, and continue to work on my Solari because I'm just knitting it around for all of that. And what helped me the most, even with the socks, is dedicating 45 minutes. Like, okay, 45 minutes, me in this project. I'm not going to let myself get distracted. And obviously, I try to pick a time where nothing else is happening that will need my time. So I'm going to do that. So it's going to be like some hyper knitting happening in my life, but it's worth it. But now I have to put all of this away. And that's a little overwhelming, but I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to edit this and put this stuff away. So that's what I'm going to do. Anywho, thank you so much for listening to my recap about my amazing yarn retreat, mommy retreat, knitting retreat, wine retreat weekend. It was well worth it. I'm so glad I got a chance to do it again. For next year, I hope to go to Flock. I never been to Seattle, and so I'm going more to explore the city of Seattle and not necessarily just to enjoy the Fiber Festival. So my hope is to go to the city of Seattle, enjoy the heck out of that, and then come home after exploring the city and maybe going to Flock. In terms of Rhineback, if I were to go to Rhineback, because the sweater that Adrienne Mari, came out was so dope, and I just have a Saturday, or I didn't buy a ton of yarn, I'll do that. I just have so much yarn in my collection now. Like I'm at the brink. I cannot add any more yarn to this room because it's making me feel uh anxious, if that makes sense. It's definitely making me feel like, oh gosh, it just feels too much. So I would like to go through my collection a little bit, knit it down before I do that. I want to buy like one or two things, not do all this. This was a bit excessive for me, but I did come in there with the intention. I wanted two sweater quantities of yarn. I got three, and everything else is just little skeins for some socks or a hat. So I'm going to make it work. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Sorry about the lighting, but if you are a frequent person on this channel, you know my lighting could be special. So, anywho, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next Friday, maybe. All right. Have a good week, y'all.